Welcome back to the Manc Entrepreneur YouTube channel. And in today's episode, I'm going to be chatting with you about the news that eBay Australia have just banned third-party fulfillment. Now, this is new news. We didn't cover any of this in the updates that we talked about last week. And a special hat tip to Reese. Thank you so much, Reese, an Australian seller who reached out to me and let me know about this policy, sent me the link over last night, and I couldn't believe it. So it was curious to me as to what's going on here. Now, myself and Richard, who you know from eSell Cafe, have this morning been sort of scouring around the web to see whether this is being replicated on any other marketplace that we can see, any other eBay marketplace that we know of. It's not mentioned on .com, it's not mentioned on .co.uk, and from what we can tell, it's not mentioned in any of the major European marketplaces either. This seems to be just a primarily Australian announcement or policy, I guess. So with that said, the link to the actual eBay policy, third-party fulfillment policy, is in the link down below, as is a few of the links that I talked about eBay news and eBay policy spring updates last week. So again, if you're not up to date with those, links are in the description down below. Just click show more and they'll all be down there. But this episode, we're talking about this third-party fulfillment policy and why this sort of is a big deal. So firstly, for anyone who doesn't know what third-party fulfillment is, it's when you send your inventory to someone else in order to then do the pick, pack, and dispatch on your behalf. The most common one, and the most popular one that you will have heard of, is FBA. FBA is a third-party fulfillment service because, as some of you may not know, you can actually send your stock to Amazon warehouses in FBA, and Amazon can dispatch them to your customers that haven't bought through the Amazon marketplace. In fact, it is quite common, and there was some funny stories a few years ago about eBay customers getting really confused when items they'd ordered from eBay was coming in Amazon packaging. You can see where this is sort of going. Now, this has been going on for years. This has been in the UK and the USA for a number of years. And eBay's never really acknowledged it. Amazon's never really acknowledged it to any degree. It just sort of went on. And if you wanted to use Amazon FBA in order to fill either your web orders or your eBay orders, then that was on you. There was no policy to say that you couldn't do that until now. And it only seems to be in Australia. Now, I've got, again, the policy up in front of me, again, down in the description down below for the actual ebay.com.au page. And let's just go through what they're saying. So third-party fulfillment means sending your inventory to someone else to prepare and send your orders for you, and can include logistics and services such as inventory storage, handling, packing, postage, and customer service. We don't allow third-party fulfillment in situations where it could be confusing for eBay customers, such as when an order is sent by another retailer or marketplace. How many other marketplaces do this, eBay? Just the one major one that I know of, the big A. So anyway, so what are the guidelines? Now, there are some instances where third-party fulfillment or using third-party logistics can be allowed. Let's have a look at the allowed list. You may use a third party to fulfill eBay orders on your behalf when authorized by eBay, or when you are clearly identified as the seller and all packing slips and invoices, and you ensure the safe fulfillment of the item within the terms stated in your listing, and they do not fall within the not allowed section below. That's the important bit, the not allowed section. So let's have a look at the not allowed section. You may not use a third-party provider to fulfill eBay orders on your behalf when the third party is another retailer or marketplace, such as Amazon. They even name them This includes third parties that are owned directly or indirectly by another retailer or marketplaces, and the order is being fulfilled from within Australia. That's an interesting one. So you cannot use a third-party provider to fulfill eBay orders if the third party is another retailer or marketplace, or if it is being fulfilled from within Australia. That's very curious. So again, even if you are so what they're saying is basically, unless you have prior permission from eBay and your stock is in Australia, you are not allowed to fulfill that via a third party. However, if your items are in America, the UK, or China, that's fine. You're allowed to, because they're not, chances are they're not stored in Australia. I wonder how that would work with AliExpress, technically a marketplace. Who knows? But again, because it's not coming from within Australia, that is against that's not against these policies. Make sure you follow these guidelines. If you don't, you may be subject to a range of actions. We may limit, restrict, or suspend you from buying, selling, or using site features. All of your listings may be removed, displayed lower, or not shown in search results. Without refunding any or all applicable fees, you may forfeit special account status and or discounts. Now, the curious question is why? Why are eBay doing this, and why is it only in Australia? eBay very nicely answered that for us. Why does eBay have this policy? When eBay orders are sent by another retailer or marketplace, it can cause confusion for customers and affect trust in the eBay marketplace. We have this policy to maintain the customer experience for both buyers and sellers, as well as to protect our customers' data from being used for purposes other than fulfillment. That's pretty much word for word. Well, that is word for word what the policy is. It's not a long one. It takes 2 minutes to read it, but it's only in Australia. And that's the curious one, because if, for me, like, why is eBay doing this? Why does eBay have this policy? If they were that worried about confusion for customers and affecting trust in the eBay marketplace, surely that would be a global policy that they'd be rolling out. This would not be allowed in the UK, in the USA, in Germany, France, Spain, Italy. It wouldn't be allowed anywhere. But from what we can find, and eBay, if you watch this, please feel free to get in touch and send me a link to this policy on your other sites, because I couldn't find it. I did look, I promise. In fact, a few of us looked. We couldn't find it. This seems to be only an Australian policy. Now, again, if it turns out that this is now a global policy, I will update you on that. But right now, this is purely from Australia. The fact that even in the terms it says the order is being fulfilled from within Australia is not allowed, it makes it pretty specific to Australia. Which begs the question, again, why only Australia? Now, the only reason that I can personally think about this is only last week did Amazon launch FBA in Australia, which means that Amazon's warehouse in South Melbourne must now be up and running, and therefore taking and ready for third-party sellers to start utilizing FBA. Second to that, we've also spoken how Amazon have bought some land up in Sydney, and that's speculated to be another fulfillment center. And I believe it was last week, again, at some point, Amazon actually opened up Seller Central, so that now it used to be invite only or very certain category restrictions. Now it is much more open, and sellers can now apply to sell onto the Amazon marketplace. This is as we predicted last year. I did a video last year about how Amazon Australia would be huge, and I got loads of comments under that video of people slating it, saying it's terrible, it's too expensive, blah, blah, blah. And my message back then was, just you wait until Prime comes in. Wait until Prime, the value proposition for Prime becomes a real thing to you. And then you'll see the big deal. And I believe even in that video I said, or certainly in blog posts since then, I've said, if eBay are not worried about Amazon Australia yet, then they should be. Because eBay had Australia locked down for a long time. And now Amazon's come in to disrupt the party. And this policy screams to me, eBay are a little bit worried. We're going to make it hard for people to, excuse me, to utilize Amazon's fulfillment centers to sell to our customers. Because thinking about this from eBay's perspective, yes, you could label it as confusion, but I would also label it as brand awareness. eBay don't want their customers getting products from Australian sellers in Amazon boxes, especially for those sellers who maybe weren't aware that Amazon was now fully operational in the country and therefore would start exploring opportunities on the Amazon marketplace. And again, once you get tied into that Prime network, it makes a lot of sense for a lot of people. That's my inkling on this. The third-party fulfillment policy. This came out of the blue, and like I said, as far as I'm aware, if anyone knows differently, please let me know either in the comments down below or head over to esellercafe.com and let me know. There's an article up there. Let me know in the comments section there. I'd be very interested to find out if this is how far this has gone. Like I said, I see this can probably affect a lot of businesses. They've named Amazon by name. Now, that's quite big news in itself. eBay and Amazon often do not acknowledge each other publicly. You may not have noticed this, but it's true. eBay will very rarely name Amazon, and Amazon will very rarely name eBay. It's sort of like they coexist, but it's like maybe a gentleman's agreement that they don't attack each other. I don't know. It seems weird, but this is the first post in a while where I've seen eBay actually name Amazon, and that's curious. Now, again, for a lot of sellers who may be using third-party logistics companies, there may be an option for you to potentially, get approval from eBay that your third-party logistics company or your third-party fulfillment company is allowed. I don't know what the process is for that. Like I said, this seems brand new. But I can guarantee if you're using Amazon FBA and you want to fulfill orders outside of Amazon Market, or you want to basically go nuts fulfilling your web orders, but if you want to fulfill eBay orders through Amazon FBA, that's going to be a big no-no. And eBay, like I said, they are, we may limit, restrict, suspend, your listings may be removed, not shown in search, and without refunding any or all fees. They're taking this very, very seriously. That's the latest news from this week. It'd be interesting to know your thoughts on this. If you're an Australian seller, let me know in the comments section down below what your thoughts are on this. Even if you don't sell on Amazon, even if you don't use third-party fulfillment, if you do, again, especially let me know. But if you don't, I'd like to hear your take on it. What's the feeling on the ground there in Australia as to what is going on? I'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback. With that said, there will be, again, it's become very newsy, this channel, over this past week, which is what I expected with all the spring updates and the autumn updates from Australia, from eBay. We also had the Magento news about Amazon as well. I'm just trying to keep you up to date with all the latest news from the world of e-commerce. I've got other videos that I'm in my mind ready to do, and I will get to them, but obviously the news takes precedence because it's important, and obviously the more I can pre-warn you as to what's going on, hopefully the better position you will be in. With that said, if you've enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe if you are new. There's new content every single weekday. I just noticed as I logged in, we passed 600 subscribers. That's a nice milestone, so thank you so much for that if you're already subscribed. And with that said, I'll catch you later this week for another video. With that said, enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll catch you in the next video. I'll see you then.